the next exercise we are going to go through is factorial of a number in Python. How do you calculate factorial? Now, what is this factorial is all about? Now, factorial, just to give you a simple example, if I ask you calculate the factorial of 5, you will do 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 and you get the output 120. Let's say I'm asking you calculate the factorial of 7. 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 to 1, you get 5040. If I ask you calculate the factorial of 0, the output should be 1. Factorial of 0 is 1. And any negative number, it should say not defined for negative numbers. So let's see, this will be an interesting exercise. Let's see how this can be done. Let's write a comment. Factorial of number. Now, to calculate the factorial number, we will do using by creating a function. So how do you create a function? You have to say define calculate, and I am saying factorial, and in the parenthesis we will pass an argument or a parameter. I am going to pass it here. Now here I'll put a colon, and let's think of the logic. The thinking of the logic is important. Now all you have to do, if I go through a loop, let's say I'm entering 5, right? If I go through a loop 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5, if I do, it works. So what I will do, first of all, let's define a loop here. Okay, so I'll say for I in range, and let's define a range. Let's say someone has given 5. That means my range should start from 1 and it should go till n plus 1, right? N, and then I'll use a plus and 1. Why I'm saying n plus 1? Because the range works that way. 1 comma 5, if you write, will only run until 4. So I need until 5, and 5 has to be multiplied. So that's why n plus 1. Okay, good. Now after this, what you will do? You have to multiply. So to multiply, let's store some value, some default value with a variable called f. Factorial, for factorial, I'm writing the variable f, for example, is equals to 1. So I have a default value for the factorial variable 1. Fine. Now let's come down, and here let's go to the end, hit enter, and here what I'm going to do, I'll say f factorial is equals to factorial into multiplied by I. Now what happens here is, imagine our 1, the factorial variable will have the value 1. So 1, and the range is going on. Because the range is going on, the very first value in the I would be, sorry, I should say I, okay, not I, simply I. So now what is happening? F has 1 multiplied by 1, so the F becomes 1. Now when the loop runs again, the I would have 2 value. So 2 into 1, then it will have 3. So 3 into 2, like that it will continue the multiplication. Getting it? So that way you will get the value factorial here. Now once you do this, next thing all I have to do, I have to return, right? I have to return. So use a tab and simply say return factorial. Okay, so when you return it, now you will get a value. Now let's see how it works. Now let's use to ask the user, provide me a number. We will ask that. So I will say number is equals to input from the customer. I will say enter any number. Okay, so here it will ask the user enter any number. Now once the user enters 5, 6 or anything like that, you need to convert this to integer. Okay, this is very important. So all I will do, I will say I'll use the integer and encapsulate the entire thing inside the input. Clear? Now how do you call the function? I'll use print, and I'm going to say I want to calculate, right? So I'll say calc. I'll use call the function, and inside this function I have to pass the argument. The argument is nothing but number. So when I pass this number, whatever the user has entered, now it will go to n, and n will do the rest of our job. So let's see how it is working. Let me run the code, and let's say I'm entering 5 here, hit enter. So what happened? The output has come 120. Do you see? Now let's say I'm entering 0, for example. Okay, let me run it again. Let me enter the value 0 and hit on enter. So 0 factorial is 1. Very good. Let me enter 7. So what happened? If I let me run it and then enter 7, hit enter. So what happened? 5040. So like that, for example, if I enter 10, I have to run the code, 10 and hit enter. What is happening? I am getting the factorial. Now, one thing we have to consider, if somebody enters a negative number, in that case, how will you do? If somebody enters a negative number, here what I will do, if n is less than 0, for example, if n is less than 0, then that time all I will do, I will return something like return, and in the parenthesis let me write negative numbers are not considered, something like that. You can enter. For example, let's run this. Let me enter let's say minus 23, for example. Okay, if I enter, it gives me negative numbers are not considered. Now if I run it simple, for example, I say 21 here or 23 positive number, then it calculates me the factorial. So this is how the entire factorial program has been done. Let's have a quick look on the factorial. So pretty simple. We have created a we created a function called calc factorial, and here we are calling the function, passing a number through an argument, and then here it becomes a parameter, and from the parameter it does the rest of the calculation. So I hope you have learned something new. How many of you were able to do it on its own? So going forward, whatever video comes, when you see the exercise, try to do it on your own and see if you can build a logic out of it. Because right now, most of the code should be in your fingertips. You know how to write if, how to write for loop, how to return, how to write a function. All this should be in your fingertip through the last couple of exercises we have done. Now, when you get new exercises, try to do it on your own first, and then probably you can see the how I have done it. So thank you for watching. Let's meet once again in our next video.